All right, let's talk about building a better future for our neighborhoods. We're going to explore a really powerful idea for how we can reshape our communities, making them not just greener, but a whole lot closer, too.
But first, have you ever really stopped to think about your daily routine? Why do we live in one spot, then drive to another place to shop, and then drive to a totally different area to work? It just seems normal, but does it really have to be that way?
Well, for decades, our cities were literally designed around the car. The source material for this explainer calls it failed auto-centric planning. And what that did was physically separate all the key parts of our lives. It led to sprawl, those super long commutes, and honestly, a feeling that our communities are disconnected.
So, what if we could just flip that whole model on its head? What if we could build something that planners are calling a complete neighborhood?
I mean, just look at this. Imagine a place where you don't have to choose between having a home or a shop or a park nearby. They're all woven together into the same vibrant, totally walkable area. And that really gets to the heart of it, the big promise here. It's a phrase you'll see pop up a lot in the research. The goal is to create a place where everyday life happens just outside your door. So how do we actually get there? Well, it all starts with the blueprint, a fundamentally smarter way to design the places we live. Now, here's a key concept. It's called the Integrated Modification Methodology, or IMM for short. I know, it sounds a little complex, but the idea behind it is actually pretty simple. It's basically a design playbook that weaves together nature, walkability, and different types of buildings. And the goal is to create something called smart density, which just means fitting more homes into a neighborhood without sacrificing all the things that make it a great place to live. Let's break that down real quick. Smart density means having more neighbors, but not necessarily by building giant skyscrapers. Green utility means that nature isn't just in some park way down the road, it's literally part of the buildings. Walkability is all about creating street layouts that are actually easy and pleasant to walk through. And layered mixed use, that's about putting homes, shops, and cafes all in the same block, or sometimes even in the very same building. And this is a perfect illustration of that last point. You can see homes, actual apartments, sitting right on top of stores. You could literally live right above your favorite coffee shop or a little grocery store. It's genius.
And this right here is green utility in action. All those green roofs and courtyards, they aren't just for show. The research is really clear on this. They actively help cool the city, they create little habitats for wildlife, and they can directly improve the health of the people living there.
And you can see the walkable design here too. The sources call this a permeable street grid, which creates a human-scaled urban fabric. That's kind of a fancy way of saying it's built for people, not just for cars. It makes walking and biking the easiest, most natural way to get around. But here's the thing. A great design is totally useless if you're not legally allowed to build it. And that brings us to the second, absolutely crucial part of the puzzle. We have to unlock better zoning laws.
So for the last 100 years or so, most zoning has been exclusive. It creates these separate, rigid zones for houses and for shops and for offices. It's super restrictive. But the modern way, which is inspired by places like Japan, is inclusive. It actually allows a compatible mix of things to exist together. And it focuses on managing real problems like noise instead of just banning things outright.
So how does this inclusive approach actually work? Well, it relies on a really powerful legal tool called as-of-right zoning. Basically, it means that if your project checks all the preset boxes and follows the rules, you're allowed to build it, as of right. You don't have to go through a super long, expensive, and unpredictable approval process. It just makes it easier to build what a community actually needs. So what does this actually look like on a typical residential street? It means allowing a very specific, limited list of low-impact businesses to open up, especially on those corner lots that are so often underused. And what are we talking about here? The source materials get really specific. We're talking about things like cafes, maybe a small convenience store, a hair salon, or even a small co-working space or a community room. These are the kinds of businesses that serve the people right there in the neighborhood without creating a ton of disruption. And the effect can be absolutely transformative. These images show exactly what can happen. A quiet, kind of dormant corner becomes a vibrant social hub. Sociologists have a great name for this, a third place. It's that spot that's not your home, that's your first place. And it's not your work, your second place. It's where community just happens. It's the heart of the neighborhood. Okay, so we've got a smart design blueprint, and we have the legal key to unlock it. So what's the big payoff here? Well, it's a genuinely greener and closer future.
Take a look at this number, 80%. Just let that sink in. 80% of what?
That is the potential reduction in vehicle emissions. That is a massive deal. The research cited in the sources is just staggering. These mixed-use neighborhoods generate way less car travel, far lower greenhouse gas emissions for every trip, and in some regions, they can cut vehicle emissions by up to 80% compared to those car-dependent suburbs.
But the benefits go way beyond just the environment. The sources argue that this is really about rediscovering what they call the lost art of community building. Because when you can walk to the corner store, you bump into your neighbors, you have conversations, you build real connections. So when you put it all together, you combine the smart design of the IMM with the flexibility of inclusive zoning, this is what you get. You get walkable, green, and deeply connected communities, a place where, once again, everyday life truly can happen right outside your door. And that really leaves us with one last thought. Just for a second, look around your own neighborhood. Picture those quiet corners, maybe those empty lots. With a different blueprint and a different set of rules, what could they become?